Disclaimer: the views expressed on this episode of Perspective Platoon with Prateek are solely the opinions of the host and the guest. The content of the conversation is not reflective of the institutions or establishments mentioned therein. Take all these opinions with a pinch of salt and a dash of lime if needed. Namaskara, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whenever you're watching or listening, and welcome to this episode of Perspective Platoon with Prateek. My guest this week is Omkar Yogaraj. Omkar and I have now been friends for close to 9 years, I want to say, since our time going to school together in Mangalore in Mount Carmel Central School. In this episode, we sort of spoke about our time together in school, some of the shenanigans, some of the fun times, some sweet, some savory memories, and so much more. We also speak about his skating career, since he's a national level athlete and represents India in multiple international tournaments and meets. So we also spoke about his mentality with regards to that, um, coming back from injuries, and so much more. So there's a ton to relate to in this episode, and a lot to learn, and a lot to sort of see a bit about our backstory and history as well. So without further ado, I present to you Omkar Yogaraj on this episode of Perspective Platoon with Prateek. Hey Omkar, how's it going, bro?
Yeah, it's going good. How are you?
I'm good, I'm good. It's good to have this conversation. I mean, we probably haven't spoken in a while. So we briefly
Yeah.
spoke before we started recording. So it's good to be able to do this. Um, but yeah, before we get started, if you could introduce yourself, let the people know who you are, some of your likes, your dislikes, future aspirations, and whatever you're willing to share.
Yeah, my name's Omkar. I'm an ice skater. I've represented India in the Asian Games. So right now I'm training for the Olympics, Winter Olympics, in fact. So side by side, I'm studying my engineering also in electronics and communications. So my dislikes are, I think, other than skating, maybe I play basketball. I'm not a pro or something, just okay. So most of the life, it's just been skating, skating. So nothing much to dislike over here. It's just the ups and downs of the games, the competitions. Yeah, that's it.
Mm. So you said you're preparing for the Winter Games. When is it, or where is it rather, and or both rather?
Yeah, it's next year, 2022. It's being, I think it's scheduled to be in Beijing,
Mm,
China.
mm,
So most probably right now, the winter game season starts from October first week. So there are like total of 6 World Cups. So out of that, uh, I think the top 30 ranking in 4 World Cups are automatically qualified for the Olympics. And there's going to be one Olympic qualifier after the World Cups, just before the Olympics. So if you are in the top 30 in that, you are into the Olympics. So main probably I'm just aiming at the Olympic qualifiers so that I get to train for this next 6 to 7 months.
mm. So what is it like training for the Olympics or training for the Asian Games or training in general? What would you say is part of your training regimen of being an ice skater?
Right now in India, we don't have as such a nice skating infrastructure. So during the winters in the December to Feb month, we go to Jammu Kashmir, Gulmarg. So we get to train over there for 15 days and we have a nationals for 2 days. So from that, the national team is picked. So the top three make it into the team and the fourth person is taken as standby. So every year it takes place, and I think due to the COVID reasons, from 2020 and 21, we were not able to go there, and most of the competitions were cancelled also. It's like a restart now. So they're gonna keep a national championship this year again in the month of December. So till then, I hope I'll be like back to shape, good shape. So I just started training 2 months back since the lockdown opened over here in India. So right now we're just doing roller skating so that we keep ourselves fit for ice skating when we shift over to ice. Like roller skating and ice is a totally different game because roller is like you're on wheels, so you don't use much of your lower body strength. It's just more of a flow. In ice skating, it's more of a technique, and you need a lot of lower body strength, and you need to condition your workouts. So right now, my training schedule is morning, 3 hours training, and after that, in between, it's a recovery period of 4 hours. So again, in evening, we have 2 hours of training. So in between, we have our weight workouts in the gym. We go cycling for almost 120 kilometers. So every week, once in a week, we do that. But still, it's not the up to the mark of the Olympians and the world champions because since we lag in the infrastructure over here because of that, and we have to travel abroad for a training also, which is like very financially you should be well off for that. So just waiting for a sponsor or something like that just to catch hold of them
Mm,
and go for that.
mm. And like, so when did you start skating? I mean, because I mean, we've known each other since like school in Mangalore in Mount Carmel, and you've been skating even during that time. So when did all of this start, and what sort of interested you in skating?
Actually, I never thought I'd be like skating for so long. So
Mm,
it was my sister who was like into skating first. Actually, her backstory is that she, when she was in first or second standard, I guess, she had asked my dad if she can get anything if she scored good marks in school. So my father was like, "Okay, what do you want?" One of my neighbor is a skating coach in Mangalore. So she used to watch her take kids on the road for skating. So she was like, "I want to do that." So looking at her, I felt like even I want to do that. I was, I guess, 2.5 years or 3 years. So I used to go with her for practices, and I used to borrow her. Once they finished their training practice, the time. So I used to borrow her skates and just walk around and that, holding my father's hand and all. So I think that got me into skating slowly, slowly. So that thrill of you feel the speed, the wind gushing around your ears, so that's what got me into it. Initial years, it was just like for I think we just go for parents just send you so that they don't get to take care of you. I guess at home, manage you all the naughtinesses at home we create. So it is like 2 hours of skating, just time pass. First 2 3 years. Once I got into the competition, once you come to know the real what do you say, the fruits of the victories in competition, you get interested into that. So I think around when I was in 7 years or 8 years old, I became a more serious about it. That's all.
mm. And in that time of like sort of become making it part of your life, was it always like a balancing act for you in terms of like school and skating?
Yeah, I think it was that because in the morning we used to have in Mangalore, especially due to the traffic reasons, we were doing road training. So on the roads, if you are there on the road after 7:30, 8 o'clock, you know the traffic in Mangalore, the buses, all the vehicles going around. So we used to get up at 5:30, 6 o'clock. Our training used to start. We used to finish it by 7:30, and come back home, get ready to school by 8:30 you're on the city bus, 9 o'clock you're in the school. So from 9 to 3:15, 3:45 you're in school. So again come back home, 4:30 get ready, go back again in the city bus, 5 o'clock start again practice, 5 to 8, come back home. So it was like that till almost 10th standard. I managed it somehow like that
Mm,
only.
mm. And you mentioned about like funding and like sponsorship and all that sort of stuff. Like, how does it usually work? Like, does the government sort of have any contribution in terms of sending you guys to tournaments?
Initially, when I started, when me and my sister started, it was just my dad who was financially supporting us and all. So later on, once we got into the sport, deep into it, we came to know that yeah, the government gives aids to sports persons, athletes, if you win in nationals or state level competitions. So it's like you get some amount from government, but it's not enough. Maybe it's like a small support what you get from the government. Yeah, we're just supporting you. It's not enough to make us like work out throughout the year. Maybe for 1 month or 2 months, you are like, okay, the expenses are dealt by the government. Later on, it's just from your own pocket. So right now, seeing the scenes change, like almost most of the people, the ministers or the politicians, they're supporting sports, like maybe 10 or 15%. So it's that is more than enough actually for people like us. But I wish we had that before when I started skating. So it would have helped a lot to improve. But it's never too late. So just keep trying.
Hmm. Hmm. And in terms of like the way that the government contributes, like how does that work? Like, is it just like, okay, here's this amount of funding for training and then you take care of a percentage, or like who determines how much they give you?
No, I think the government has a policy. It's like the national medalist, international medalist, it comes like in order. So
Mm,
international
okay.
medalist gets around maybe if you are a participant or a medalist in international events, you get around 5 lakhs. That's for the whole year. It's not like mentioned that you are using it for training or for equipment. It's your it's left to you how you're going to use it. For a national level skater, it's cut down to 3 lakhs. State level, 1 lakh. So somewhat like that. So for a person who wants to keep competing at international level, minimum for like you need around 2 lakhs per month to spend it on the training, the equipments, the nutrition you require. So the coaches, the trainers, and your traveling expenses and all. So it requires two lakhs at least to be able to train to that level. If you want to go to the exceed their level of competition, you need more than that, and you need to be in the proper training. What do you say? I'm not getting the word. The training institute, like in you have this Calgary Institute in Canada, so they have the separate program for ice skating. So for 8 months, they train you like they train you what on your requirement. So if you are a beginner, they put you into that beginners group and make sure you get better and better day by day. So it's like every year they have this. So to get into that, you have to have that standard timing. So in 500 meters, you are supposed to clock around 46, 45 seconds. So if you are good enough for that, they take you into training and they make sure that you reduce those timing. Because right now the world championship, the races, final races timings comes around 41 seconds, 42 seconds. So that to cut off 4 seconds, you need a lot of time.
Mm. And what is the difference in terms of training or in terms of like practice that can make that switch of like just 4 seconds? Because I've heard, I think it was like Virat Kohli, who's like an Indian cricketer, who was talking about it somewhere in an interview about that difference in speed of running towards a ball to catch it in cricket, or like your speed in general, depends on like how many hours you put behind the scenes in terms of practice. So, what does it take for y'all in terms of putting in that practice to make up that difference?
Yeah, so every training institute has their own pattern of training athletes. So they first when they call you into the program, they check, like on the first day they take a fitness test, so they know that at what level you can train with them. So they try to first refine all the what do you say, the mistakes, whatever you have. They try to perfect those mistakes first, then they push you. So it's like, before it was like just train, train, train. Now you train smarter, you get faster, better, even more efficient, like quickly. So your injuries are less, prone to less injuries, and you're fit enough to go into the next race. And yeah, in India, I think there's one or two institutes which have like sports management as the what do you say, the subject in the college, and rest of them it's like just engineering, medical. They they don't take care like, okay, you're going good in sports, so we are going to support you. No, it's like you're doing your sports, but you have to study also. If you're not studying over here, you better leave that and come back over here. It's not very supportive. Even like parents also, they also want you like backup. They need a backup. Like if you're not good or you don't success in sports, so let there be a education backup so that you can just come and fall on this and work. So I think that's how it works in India. Abroad, like if you're good at one sport, they take you, they adopt you, they train you until you become a champion. So I think things needs to change in India right now. Maybe it's changing now because like most of the Olympians are from North India and all. They have more and more institutes coming up over there. So I think South Indians need to work on that a little more.
Mm. And what is the emotional toll that that takes on you to sort of know that, um, even in the back of your parents' minds, instead of sort of motivating you to do well towards sports, they're like, okay, okay, fine, do this, but also make sure you have a backup. Like, what sort of toll does that take on you mentally and emotionally, from your
Yeah,
own opinion?
my own opinion. My parents are like, now I'm doing engineering, so according to my age, I was supposed to finish my engineering and I was supposed to get a job right now. So after I think plus two, I dropped a year just to go for Asian Games. So after that, my parents were like, okay, you can't continue just sports. You need a backup. So join some college, take your own time. Just don't go into just one thing because you need a backup in future. So then I got into engineering. The college which I chose was, I think, initially it was like, okay, you're just rushing into things. So I just got into some college, and later on, once I joined the college, I came to know that they don't support sports as much as this do on their education. So right now, my I was supposed to be in the fourth year, like the finishing year of my degree, like the last sem exams are going on right now for them. So I was supposed to write the exams with them, but I'm still in the third year. So my parents are like, okay, you're doing something in skating, so don't let it go. Try to balance and just, I don't want you to become a topper or something. Just pass. You get a degree, then you continue sports because they know that okay, he's going to do something over here. So they have that confidence that okay, we'll just push him from the back. Oh, there's a support behind you. But once you come back and there's no support from the college, and they're like, some of most of the time they our competitions and the exams clash, so the timings are very difficult to manage. So I'll have to leave my exams and go for the competition, and when I come back and ask for the exams to be given to me separately, they're like, no, we can't give you. So I'll have to sit again, 1 year wasted, same
Mm.
attending the same subject. So it's kind of like, I'm sometimes I feel like, am I stuck somewhere or am I going anywhere? So kind of in between. But once I see the progress in skating, I'm like, okay, I'm going here. Now, since the COVID reasons are here, we are just stuck at home. So for the last 2 months, it was like just study, 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 whatever is there. Try to clear all the subjects which are left back. So once I come back to training, so that I don't have to make my life too hectic about like balancing both of them.
Hmm. How much is that sort of noticing of progress in skating uh, reliant on patience? Because I think that that's something very important, right? Like you have to be patient with all of these things. So, how do you think it is important for you personally in like the larger scheme of things?
Yeah, so when I started skating, like 3 years old, so it was like, okay, you're going for a sport skating. Once I got like into proper professional skating, competing in the national, state level competitions and all. So that time, it's like you decide whether you want to continue this form or just like, okay, one nationals, I just won a medal, more than enough. I'm satisfied with myself, and you come back to
Hmm.
normal school life. So for me, it was like initially when I started, I had a lot of competitions over here, even in state, district, state, nationals. So to get into the next level, it was very difficult. Sometimes I used to come to the state level and not get selected and come back. So initially, for almost 7 to 6 years, it was just come, get selected for state level, participate, take the experience, go home. So other side, my sister was getting selected to national, so that kept motivating me. Like, okay, I have to do this someday or the other. Don't give up. So after that, once you get that taste of victory in nationals, once you get selected to nationals, you know, like, okay, you have to train this much to get selected for nationals to compete with those guys over there in the national level. So since then, after 7 to 8 years, it was like, okay, even if I'm not skating for 2 to 3 months, I know how much I have to train to come back to the old form. So right now, it's, I think that's how it works. So initially, when you go, you're like, okay, I'm not fast enough. What am I doing wrong? You get irritated a lot. So you just have to. It's like a process. You have to be very patient. You have to trust the process. Work hard. Uh, like you don't give up in between. Don't let it go. So just keep going on with the circle.
Hmm. Have you had any of those moments where you were like, I don't see this going anywhere, I want to stop? Or has it always been like, sort of, okay, I'm fine, I'll keep going, I'll be patient?
Yeah, I think in first PU, I had gone to this World Junior Championship in Japan. So in one of the races, I had a bad fall. I hit my back to the padding of the wall. If you have seen the short track races, it's a small 100 meters rink. So if you slip a little, you just go and hit the wall, bam. So there's a big sponge support over there, but still it's not enough. So when I hit that, at that speed, my back, the L3 and L4 disc slipped and it collapsed a little. So at that time, I didn't know. Like I was like, okay, normal back pain. I'll just continue on. So it went on for 2 months. The pain was increasing. It was like very excruciating. Like you couldn't get up from the bed. So after that, I got into physiotherapy, and almost for 7 to 8 months, I was not into skating. I think it was, I don't know, it was a good time for me because once I finished my first PU, we were into second PU. So for the 7 months, I was like, okay, study, study. Bed rest, I was told 6 to 7 months of bed rest. You were not supposed to do any sports activity. So I, at the end of the seventh or eighth month, we had this nationals in Kulmar for ice skating. So I called up my coach and I was like, I want to come to the competition. I had told him like, okay, you don't expect me to win any medals. I'm just gonna come participate. I just want to see where I am right now so that I can start rebuilding myself again. So I went there. I think based on my experiences from the previous years, I won in both of the races. I came first. So he was like, I had this back brace, the belt you get. They had given me a belt, and they had given me painkillers, the 1000 mg painkillers, so that even if I get little pain, you take that, and you'll be able to at least participate or do something. So I won both the races. My coach was like, he was very happy. He was like, after, even though you are injured, you're doing good. So come back, try again. It's not a big issue. Just take small steps in the beginning. So I came back after second pew, after all the exams. I told my dad like, okay, 1 year I just want to do skating. 2007, 16, I finished. Yeah, we finished our exams. We had a very what do you say? The exams were like we had the chemistry paper. It was kept postponing every time.
I remember
I think
this.
for
Yeah.
three times we wrote the paper. So it was like, okay, just finish that. After that, I told my dad, like, my coach told like this. So he told 2017, there's this Asian Games. He's like asking me whether I want to train or something. Then my dad was like, okay, if you want to go into skating, go do it. Because he was there when the race happened in Gulmarg. He had seen me through that the 7 8 months at home. Like he could see that pain. Okay, he's not skating. What is he going to do? Maybe he's going to get into the wrong path or something like that. But once he saw me coming back slowly, so he was like, okay, he's going to a very like the proper person to train. So my coach, he has been the Indian team coach for almost 17 years. So he says only one thing whenever he sees me. He's like, "You're a very patient man. I've never seen someone so calm and like peaceful like you." Because during the races, everyone are like, "Okay, they're panicking. They're like, what should I do?" And he looks at me. He's like, "You have that calm face. That face, no, it gives that fear in your competitors, thinking, what are you doing going to do next?" So once I finished the exams, I shifted to Mysore. I just called up one night. I was like, "Sir, I'm coming tomorrow to Mysore." He's like, "Okay, you come to my house. You can stay over here only." So he had his house was there. So beside his house, he had taken a rented house for just for skaters, like skaters who come for training from other state and all. So there were already two before me. So I just went and joined. So it was like a new experience. When all of a sudden you're leaving your house, coming and staying in a stranger's house. Initially, it took time. He was like, okay, he didn't force me into like you have to come training today. He like take your time. Like if we are doing a 10 kilometer session today, take your time. You can do 5 kilometer, finish it. Just don't go home unsatisfied. Be satisfied with your training. So that was the process where it started, like coming back from the injury, again getting fit. So it was like most of the people were like, okay, no, he's gonna not be able to do a comeback because of his back injury and all. So I didn't take it too much to my head. I was like, I just kept telling my coach. He was like, he just had one thing. Just kept telling me one thing. He's like, you are not scared of anyone. They are scared of you. Just keep training. You'll get better day by day. But don't skip any day. That's all. Be regular. So I think it took me almost 3 to 4 months to get back into the flow, like the normal fitness of uh, the beginners, I guess. So the 3 4 months was very difficult. You could see all the skaters passing by next to you, so it was like very difficult. He used to make us sit like our group. We used to sit and we used to talk about that week's training. Yeah, you have improved this much. You need to improve here. So that took like a lot of toll on me. He was very helpful in that. And yeah, once I came into that good form and I got into the national team, I participated in the Asian Games. Like people then believed, like, yeah, okay, he's the real deal. You can't mess with him. So whenever I step onto the ground, they're like, okay, if anyone is not a competitor and if Omkar is there, he is surely the competition over there. Even if he has not practiced, he's surely going to do some impact in that race. So yeah, ups and downs are there in life. I think that 1 year period time of training for the Asian Games taught me a lot of patience. So it taught me like don't never give up. You know there are ups and downs. When you're down, obviously there's an up. It's a circle. So right now it's just going like that. Like nowadays, because of the COVID, like, last month in April we had a national. So that time we didn't have much practice time over here in Karnataka because the COVID restrictions very strict over here. So the people other places they had like more free time to train. So when we went to the nationals, my aim goal was like, okay, you have reached here, you know what you're going to do. Just concentrate on yourself. So may most probably I think this year's nationals were my best performance out of all the years. But I had a fall in my first race, so everyone expected me to like not even get into the finals this year. So once you had the fall, the next event I came back, I came second. Then it was just flow. Just go with the flow. You start winning all the three events. I just won all three events. My coach was like, he literally told this to me after all the competition. You have not come training this year properly. You're just there for I think 3 months proper training. With the 3 months training, you are able to like show these guys some tough time. So he was like, don't give up. Try how much ever you can. Make time. Come for practice. So yeah, patience is the key, I guess, to everything.
Hmm. Hmm. And what's the fire like within an athlete like you to sort of come back from an injury like that? Because a lot of the times, like even in daily life, when when we tend to fall down, metaphorically speaking, sometimes you're going to be like, okay, it's fine, like I guess it's not for me. I'll figure something else out. But in your case, it was the complete opposite. You chose to continue like pursuing it. So, what was that fire like for you inside of you? And second of all, um, how does that fire keep you going today?
So yeah, it's sort of like I think when I see the others, uh, how do you say this? Yeah, when I was like small, when I used to look at my sister, like she used to win all the national medals. So some spark comes inside you. You're like, okay, even you can do this. Why not you? The same thing happened once you get into that big leagues. So you see all the seniors like, okay, they are fast, they are fast. Even you are supposed to like one day or the other you're going to compete against them. So you have to get to that level. So every day it's like you just keep a target, small targets, so that once you're into the competition, the bigger targets looks small to you. So most probably when I shifted to Mysore, I had this senior. So he used to be like, okay. Initially, he used to bully me a lot. He used to be like, "You're not doing training at all. You have a back injury. Leave skating. Why are you doing this?" And all. So I took it at heart. I didn't want to be like, okay, I've just given up my studies for one whole year. I can't go back to that. So I have to keep pursuing this. So just keep pushing yourself, because in life you get opportunities. If you're not using it, maybe sometimes you lose, sometimes you win. But just go for the next opportunity. Don't stop at that moment. Like most of the time now, see, I've lost so many races. Like initially when I started first 7 8 years, it was like, who is Omkar? Now it's like, okay, Omkar is there from Karnataka. He's a good skater, so they know that he's if I'm there in the team, it's going to be a very strong team. So that's what it keeps me pushing every day. Like now also we I think in between you need to have that small breaks in life and get back to reality. Like you have to be like, okay, what have I done till now? You have to look back once and see like, okay, I've reached till here. So what is the next step I'm going to do? So that's how I guess it keeps me progressive every day. So it's not like, okay, today I didn't do well, so tomorrow it's not going to be good. I just look at it at a other term. Okay, what mistake did I do today, so that I don't repeat it again. It's just a sort of experience you get from it.
Mm. And how important is discipline and sort of like that balance with motivation in all of this sort of coming to where it is?
I think if your discipline is the most important, because if you're not disciplined, even if you have that motivation, it's not going to work out for you. So initially you have to be very disciplined. You have to like follow the training patterns, your diet, just what like what daily timetable you have. So basically I think if you're not disciplined enough, even though if you have that motivation, it's not going to give you that output which you see, like what you want to do. So because I've seen most of the guys, they're like, okay, uh, today I'm not going to do this exercise. I'm not in the mood to do this. So I think in the longer run, it affects small part of your competition. I, on the other hand, I'll be like, okay, even if I don't have any mood, I just like, okay, if they are telling me to do 10 sets, at least out of 10, minimum 7 or 8 sets we finish and just go off. Because sometimes you feel that, okay, I'm not feeling well today. But those are the days that counts actually. Like if you're taking rest, once you start taking that rest, your mind gets set to that. It's like, okay, you rested yesterday. Why don't you rest today also? It just keeps, the cycle keeps repeating again and again. So if you're not disciplined and yeah, it's, I think, equally the, what do you say, it affects your motivation and your outcome of the on the competition days.
Hmm. Yeah, we've sort of spoken about like your challenges in terms of coming back from the injury and sort of like the negatives. But if you were to sort of look back on your sort of journey of skating so far and what's to come, what are some of the positives that you see on this journey that you've had so far?
uh, in skating, like initially, I think when we were small, I don't think we cared about what people thought about us. What, like, it didn't matter to us. It was like, okay, you do whatever you want. I'm just gonna follow what I want. So you just back answer. Once you get into that mature state of age, you feel like, okay, I shouldn't have done that. So initially, it was like I was a very short tempered person. You know that because it's cool. You've seen me. So I was a very short-tempered person, and most of them are like, okay, you just have to give a small spark to him, and he's going to just run off from the course. He's gonna fall off on his own. You don't have to do anything. Just small temper. So I think initially, once I finished with second PU, when I had that time to think at home during the injury time, so it was like a pause moment for me to look back and just see how I was till then and how I'm going to be in the future. So after that, the people who saw me before and the people who see me now, they're like, this is a totally different Omkar. You're like the very opposite person who we saw long back. So right now they're like, you come and insult me, you tease me. I'm like, I'm on my own. I know what I'm going to do today. I'm not going to let your talks or your insults uh, interfere with my feelings or with my emotions. So I think because of skating, I learned that to show that in my other life also, even in college. Now, in college, when I go to ask for exams, they're like, okay, we can't give you exams right now. And I'm like, okay, there's another chance. I'll try again. So I don't feel like, yeah, I'm going back or something like that. So it's just a happy journey till now, I guess. So let's see how it's going to go forward.
Yeah. What are you hopeful about for the future, or like sort of what future aspirations do you have for yourself in terms of your skating journey?
In terms of my skating journey, like right now, it's just depends on the COVID situation over here, because of it we are not allowed to go out a lot. We can't train for longer period of time because once the people started gathering at the place, so the police comes and he'll be like, okay, people are gathering over here, you need to move out. So we're just waiting for it to deteriorate, like let the days, the situation become normal. So according to my plan, I was supposed to be training for the world championship in yeah, it was supposed to be in September. Now postponed to November. So now it's like I've pushed my goal to the next one. So next year we have the Summer Asian Games, which is going to be held in China. The event venue is not yet finalized. So the aim is to target that. So right now it's like okay, practice, practice, practice. In side by side, try to manage college also. So once everything gets normal, you can go on full throttle.
Hmm. Cool. Well, good luck to you for that, bro. I
Yeah,
wish you the
thank you.
best, and do well. But we're going to transition into talking about something that brought us together, which was high school, or
Yeah,
school rather, because high school over here has a different meaning. But we met there. What was it, in eighth standard, or was it seventh standard that we met?
eighth standard.
Eighth standard, right? Okay.
Yeah, eighth standard.
So eighth standard, yeah. So those of you watching who don't know, or listening rather, Omkar and I both went to the school called Mount Carmel Central School in Mangalore, which is in Karnataka in India. And that's how we met each other first. And we were classmates till the 10th standard. Um, and we've had our we've had our times as classmates with other people as well. So yeah, like in that sense, what are some of your fondest memories of high school, or like of school in general, of Mount Carmel?
High school, I think first day when I came to that school, maybe you're the first person to call me out and you're like, that's the girl's place, dude. Come and sit with us. Because I
Mm,
was like, I didn't know where to sit. Because I think that is the only school which had the separate chairs and the desk for every person. So you didn't know where to sit. I just went and sat randomly. You're like, bro, that's
mm,
girl's place. Come and sit with us over here. Then I think,
mm,
yeah, after that, we just got off into a conversation, we, introduced ourselves. And more, I think Ronson was my schoolmate in like my previous school. So I knew him and some of the guys from other senior classes. I knew most of them. So ninth, 10th standard guys and all. They were my seniors in my old school.
mm,
So they kind of knew me. So it got like awkward in the first day because I was sitting with the girls. Then we're like, okay.
mm.
Then I think I remembered very first that teacher, what's her name? Sister Rupal.
Yeah, yeah.
She was from Jamshedpur. She was like always blabbering about yeah, this Jamshedpur is good, Jamshedpur is that. We used to get pissed off a lot, and yeah. So the first eighth standard was like okay, it took time to get used to all my friends and all. Then yeah, most of the time it was like okay, we are. You were good in studies and sports and dance and all. It is like okay, being Prateek's friend is going to help a lot for me in studies and yeah, sports also like okay, okay, because you had a huge build. So you're like, okay, football, we can use this guy as a defender, a goalie. So I think that was what I thought. I don't know about the others. So it
Mm,
is like that, kind of like that. That's what the first impression was like, okay, this guy's a confident guy. So maybe you be friends with him, you're gonna go good for the longer
mm.
term.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't call myself much of a sports person in terms of like the way that I took part in school, but yeah, like in terms of like our memories, I remember like starting around in like eighth, we were in those two different classes, right? Like we had 8A and 8B, and we were together in 8B, and there were some other people in 8A. um, and these are just class divisions for those of you wondering what I'm talking about. But Yeah, we had with Sister Rupal. I mean, as much as like at that time she felt like a bit of a pain in the backside, I feel like I remember some things that she said that now that I think about it, I'm like, yeah, that is sort of true, and I'm glad that I've changed. But I don't know if you remember this story. This one time we spoke about her before we started recording, but Nitika was, I think we were all in the library. I don't know if you were there, but we were all in the library, and Nitika started making fun of me. So, well, let me add some context. For those of you listening and watching, like a lot of the times you get paired with a girl in school, and I was paired with this girl called Nichelle, and she started making fun of me. And at that point in time, I had a temper too. And I remember
Yeah,
throwing a
yeah, I
bottle
remember.
at her fractured hand.
I remember. Yeah, yeah, I remember. It was like I think we were in library and she started making fun of you in the library, and then after that we had the study break or something, the homework hour.
Hmm.
Yeah, homework
Right.
hour. We had our homework hour, and you went back to the class, and they were still making fun of you in the class. By the time me, Sonal, and rest of the guys reached, you had already fought with her, and she was holding her hand. She was like, "Oh, fractured, fractured," and all. Yeah, I still remember. Then Sister Rupal from the staff room came running. She was like, "What is this, Prateek?" I
Yeah.
Those are the days, man. Yeah, I remember. I remember.
Yeah, yeah. And then I remember after that, our principal, Sister Melissa, called me and she was like, "Look, we were playing outside during that time. We were playing, and then she called me from her window because her window was facing
Yeah,
like the playground area in the backside.
the
So I
football
remember her
ground.
calling, and she was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." I remember her calling, and she was like, "Look, you threw it at her fractured arm. If she breaks it again, then you will have to pay for it." I was like, "Okay, sister," and
Yeah,
then I walked away. But yeah, luckily she didn't break her arm. But yeah, I don't think I've spoken to her much since after 10th, but you said you spoke to her recently. But yeah, like I think that sort of connection, again, we were talking about this before we started recording, but that connection that we had with a lot of our classmates is not as existent anymore. um, but hopefully we can meet down the road. But do you remember the I don't know how much you remember of this, but do you remember that in 10th we had to like be in the corridor as like prefects, not prefects, but like these what was it called, like the student council officers or whatever we were.
yeah, yeah. The student council. You were the student people leader. I was the sports minister. Mm, we were supposed to make the kids go in line down the stairs.
Right.
So every floor
Yeah.
we had like two of us standing over there, and I was in the ground floor. And you were supposed to be in the main gate, or you close the gate. You're like, okay, send these people down,
Yeah.
send these guys down. So yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of sort of memories like that, like being we performed also for like Teachers Day,
Yeah,
and
Teachers' Day, Annual Day.
right. Yeah.
I think
Yeah, I remember
once
doing
in
that.
ninth standard, I guess we performed for Independence Day. That what's her name? Vidya ma'am. She was a class teacher that time.
Mm.
You were her favorite dude. Nifson, you both were her favorite students. She used to like, Prateek, come here. You have to do this. You have to do that. Like, she used to call you for everything. You remember we had gone to get those costumes and all in her car.
Mm. Yeah.
So I think I spoke to her last time on Facebook. I was like, "Hi, ma'am, how are you?" And she was like, "Okay, awkward." So I didn't feel like continuing that conversation after that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I remember that in 8th standard, for like Teachers Day. Teachers Day is celebrated as like a day for teachers on like the 5th of September in India. So we did like that slow motion dance by that guy
Yeah,
Raghav, right? To his music and all that.
yeah,
And yeah, I remember everybody was like, if you were to use today's lingo, like so hyped up about it.
yeah,
Um, I remember we used to practice in like those kindergarten classrooms,
yeah. We used to
right? And
stay
we used
after
to play.
school and used to have a lot of fun over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like most of the
I
practice
yeah.
sessions were like, oh, 1 hour. If we took to practice, half of it was, I think, only 10 minutes we did practice, and rest of it was just playing
Mhm.
around.
Yeah.
And you were like, okay, come back, guys, practice. We need to practice. You're like, no,
Yeah.
we'll practice, though. We just 10 minutes is more than enough. We'll play. We started playing football or the kindergarten classes had the small balls, the plastic balls. We used to play football, cricket.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you remember the time we used to play cricket in the class with that we used to roll the paper around with the sellotape,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
once we had hit it to the like I think to the CCTV camera of our class, and it got bent a little.
Mm.
And the
Mm.
principal came to our class, and she was like, "If it's broken, you guys have to pay for it." And she didn't know who played because at that time they were not recording, I guess.
Mm.
So yeah, I remember that. Then we had broken, not broken. The tire was already broken, and we were playing football with the duster.
Oh yeah, true. True, true.
And we
Yeah.
all got called to the principal's office when that tire broke. And I wasn't in there or that time. I was in some nationals
Mm.
or something. So the all the blame was on me. They're like, Omkar did it. I'm like, when did this happen? Then I
Mm.
explained her. I was like, I was not here and I was in competition. Then they're like, no, no, you did it before you went. And I'm like, you're telling it happened day before yesterday or something. I just came today from the competition. I'm just hearing it today. Then she's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Because anything happened in between our classes, fight or something, I was the first person to be named. Like, Omkar is the one because of him. And
Yeah.
because I used to be half of the time the reason for it.
Yeah. Yeah, because were we playing with the other class or was it just us playing in the eighth
We
standard?
used to go, like, in the break, we used to go and play in their class.
Mm.
Like,
Yeah.
in between the breaks, we used to go and play over there.
Hmm.
And we used to have this activity day on Saturday, dance,
Right.
karate, and all. I still remember the dance classes.
Yeah, it was with Charan, no? Was it Charan sir
Yeah,
and Mahesh sir? Yeah.
yeah. It was good.
Yeah.
He was like crazy guy. Between he used to like that at that point of time, sitting with girls or talking to girls was like okay. This pairing thing started over there, so we were not allowed to talk to girls or sit with them. Even if we sat, it was seen as a punishment, not as like
Mhm.
okay they are gonna stay.
Yeah.
It's not going to be uncomfortable. I think we were made to sit once. Eighth standard, yeah, eighth standard we were made to sit once.
Mm.
Because like it was like punishment because we used to talk a lot in the other classes, disturb the
Right.
class. So Sister Upal mixed up the whole bench area, everything, and we were made to sit with like two adjacent girls. Sorry, we don't speak. But we were like open-minded people then only. So we're gonna talk.
Mm.
We're gonna do our job.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, those days, like it's coming back now. Hey,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There was this one time, like, I remember we had these moral science classes.
yeah, we have a
And
brother. What's his name, dude? Oh, what? I don't remember his name. From moral science
no, I
class
don't.
sometime.
Yeah, I don't remember his name either. But this one time I remember, like, because Rosama ma'am was the class teacher for the other class. So I remember Sister Rupal sort of combined the girls of both classes one time
Yeah, yeah.
and the boys
Because
of the class one time to like talk about sexual education or something like that.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I think after some time they made us sit together. Then the girls were like they're not comfortable. Some of them were like, "Oh, what is this?" So
Mhm.
I think it went back to normal again. And in the eighth standard, I think we had skipped that whole chapter of reproduction, if you remember.
Yeah, I don't think we went over a lot of it. It was just like, okay, this, and then we just
This,
skipped
yeah,
it.
you
Yeah.
have this parts remembered. Okay, you're done with that. Because
Hmm.
I think that was the year they started with the smart classes and all. So
True.
I think who did we have for biology that year? we forced like where when are you going to teach us this chapter? And she was like, no, this is not there in the syllabus. That's all you have. She used to always
Mm.
dodge around and try to avoid that chapter altogether.
Yeah. Was it Srividya ma'am or no, not Srividya ma'am? There was another teacher, right? Like the slightly leaner teacher, tall. I can't remember her name right now. Yeah.
Most
But I
of
remember
them,
we
I
had a
remember
different bio teacher.
Sister Opal, Vidya, Sylvia ma'am. Then that Hindi short lady was there. I don't remember her name.
Sujata ma'am, I think, right?
Yeah, Sujata ma'am. Then for maths and physics, we had Ashwin sir.
Yeah.
Maths, yeah, maths. Some part of maths is Rosama ma'am, and some part of it was Ashwin sir. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sports we had for first year we had what's his name, Prakash.
Yeah. Yeah. Prakash
Yeah,
sir. Yeah.
yeah, he was very rude guy.
Yeah. He was an interesting character. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Later on, the guy who is there now, what's his name, Praveen Kumar.
Yeah. Praveen sir. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to call him PK.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
on the first
Is he
day, I
still
guess,
there?
yeah, he's still there. His
Oh,
daughter
okay.
study there now.
Oh, okay. Hmm.
Yeah, so he had asked me once like, can you come to school for skating coaching? And I told I'm shifting to Mysore for my studies and skating related things. So
Hmm.
most probably not now. I'll send someone whom I know who's there in Bangalore. Because
Hmm.
right now for CBSE curriculum, they've added skating as a subject, like kind of a
Oh,
option
okay.
in sports.
Hmm.
So if you remember, we had that grade upgradation if you had good in co-curricular activities.
Yeah.
Yeah, so somewhat that's going to use be useful for them in that. So he had asked me that time. I had sent some parent, like I knew someone in Mangalore who was interested in going to school to teach skating, so I had sent them. I don't know whether they're continuing it right now.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah.
Sylvia ma'am was that character where you see that overreacting character in the movies. You have that funny overreacting lady. Remember, they made us cut the lyrics of the song just so that we don't use that part in dance. We just said like, okay,
Yeah.
only the music is going to be there, no lyrics. We're going to remove it from the. I think a
Hmm.
pungi, yeah, pungi. She's like, what is this pungi? Remove that. Remove the whole song.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so later on, I think they came out of it and they just started supporting somewhat a little, becoming
Yeah.
open about things. Right?
Yeah.
We were there like, oh, remove this, cut that, cut this. It's like so restricted.
Yeah. Yeah, they were quite conservative about a lot of things. Like, yeah, I remember like we edited only like the instrumental parts of the songs, and then that's what we had to dance to. We couldn't
Yeah.
dance to the music. But then I remember like our seniors at that time, they got permission for some reason, and they were able to do it or something like that. I remember that happening too. Um, but yeah, yeah. But this is just a random question off of like the teachers that we've spoken about. Have you ever like had that moment where you went back and you were like, oh, but I think they were right. I mean, not about the music thing, but like generally speaking, because there were a lot of times when I remember they would have these huge, like they'd have their class period, but instead of teaching, they'd have a full hour of just like lecturing us about like the stupid things that we did. So, looking back, do you remember anything that now you're like, oh, I see where they came from or anything like that?
Yeah, because at that time, I guess we had that like the surroundings were very conservative kind of thing. So
Hmm.
we were not allowed to be open or like that. So when you go back to that situation, it's like, okay, that was right. But as
Yeah.
you went on, maybe now when I see that, I feel like, okay, that put some discipline into me right now because if I was too open or straight that time, the situations could have changed, I guess, right now.
Yeah. 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 Because I
Because
feel like a lot of the times, go ahead.
yeah, yeah, continue.
No, no, it's okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, yeah, because like now when you see that, no, because the younger generation are open now. They are more what do you say? They have the resources in their hands. So whatever you
Mm.
want, you just Google, you get it.
Yeah.
So when we were there, we had to go to the cyber center, the computer cyber center to get all the information, or we had to
Yeah.
ask our parents or ask our teachers. So maybe they thought like, if let's keep them protected, let them come to know on their
Yeah.
own. Right now,
Right.
yeah, according to that, it worked out good, I guess. When
Yeah.
now you know
Yeah.
the importance of all that.
Mm. Yeah, and I think that's sort of like the hindsight that I have also. Like, we don't realize what they say is actually like sort of. I mean, sure, like there are some things that if you look back, also you're like, well, I wish that that was handled better. But generally speaking, when you look back on those things, you're like, oh, um, they were actually right about quite a few things, and like the way that we did things. Um, so it sort of helps, but I think because we're still like in that very childish mentality, we're in like our initial years of being teenagers. It all just sort of enters one year and then leaves out of the other year. It doesn't necessarily stick. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I remember, especially, I think it was especially Vidya ma'am and Sylvia ma'am. They used to like have a lot of the times they'd have like a session where they just talk to us
Yeah,
about
we used to have a lot of sessions with them. Rest of the
yeah,
teachers, they used to go and tell them, and they used to come and give us lectures. For the
yeah,
whole period, we used to have that thing.
yeah.
I still remember. Do you remember the labs we had, like lab sessions?
Hmm.
Not physics lab, the chemistry lab where we had to do that. I think the pipette or something. Yeah, pipetting thing, and we were spraying water on each other, and I by mistakenly cursed some guy, and the whole class went silent at the same time, and she heard it, and she was like, "Who is that? Who is that?" So yeah, that time she was like, "We're not supposed to use scold like that in front of your elders or something like that."
Hmm.
And she was cool about it. She was like, "Okay, you're still young. You're gonna
Yeah,
learn."
yeah, yeah. Because we had a lot of teachers who sort of came and went at that time too. I feel like in like ninth or tenth, we had quite a few new teachers for
Yeah, for
chemistry.
chemistry, we had that lady. Yeah, she was there only for 1 year, I guess. For 10th standard,
Yeah,
yeah, that's all. After that, she left.
yeah, yeah,
10th, we had 8th, 9th standard. I don't think we had any new teachers.
yeah,
No, I don't think so.
yeah. Wait, did we have a new computer teacher in ninth or tenth?
I think ninth, yeah, ninth.
Hmm.
8th
Yeah,
standard, we had, what's her name, Rakshita.
yeah,
She used to always call you Rakshita, and one more, I don't remember the ma'am name.
yeah.
Yeah, because in between Rakshita ma'am had left school, and after that she came when we were in 10th. I guess she joined back.
Yeah. I think the other teacher's name was Sonia ma'am, I think. Was it Sonia?
Yeah, yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes,
Sonia
yes.
ma'am, yeah.
Her
Yeah.
husband used to teach us maths in Mahesh.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's a maths lecturer.
Oh.
Prashant, yeah, Prashant.
Oh, okay. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. Do you ever wish to go back to school and just meet these people?
Not most of them.
Ah,
Just go and like just go to that place and try to remember all the memories we had.
right.
So just go back and see like, okay, you were here, you had done this. Now just look at the differences we had then and now.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Very true. Very true. Yeah, because I'm sure, like, if we walk into that compound wall, it'll bring back like a lot of memories. Um. Yeah. In terms of like that L-shaped building, like we had that open ground in front of the building, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember I was like sort of having assemblies there, and we'd also have like marching practice for
March
Independence Day.
past. Yeah, Saturday we used
Yeah,
to have that mass PT,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and you were
and
supposed
we
to
yeah,
be in that like the front pack giving the
yeah,
commands. So you
yeah,
had to raise your voice. We used to make fun of you in the group behind and all.
yeah,
It was fun.
yeah, yeah. I remember because I was like the pupil leader at that time. I had to like give the marching orders or whatever. Yeah, yeah. But fun times. It's like thinking back about it. It sort of makes you laugh. It also makes you think about the people that have sort of come and gone. Uh, in your life. But yeah, man. I mean, hopefully, I hope that we can all like sort of meet together when everybody's over there in Mangalore. I mean, yeah, not everybody's gonna want to do it. I mean, I'm not calling anybody out or anything like that, but it's a personal
Yeah,
choice.
it's,
You don't
it's
want to,
yeah,
that's
it's
fine.
their own personal choice. If they want to come, see,
Yeah,
right now, I think at this point of stage in life, we just want to forget all those, I think, bad things or bad experience with people you had, and just come back and be like, okay, we studied together for almost 3 years. It is part of our life. Get together, try to remember the good things, not all the bad things, and enjoy the moment and go on from there.
right, 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 right. Yeah, yeah. Because I remember, I mean, there's a ton of good memories. Like we remember, like I remember, we all went out for like food sometimes. We sometimes went to like movies together. We did all that sort of stuff too. So
We
there
had
are a lot
gone
of good
to
memories. Yeah.
school trip to Ismaya.
Was it Vismay or was it Sadhumari Kingdom?
I think they had planned for either one of them, and they made us go to the other one. I don't remember which one, because my parents at the last moment they're like, "Okay, I'm not going. I'm staying at home." And you all had gone by train, and
Yeah.
we were just new to Facebook that time, I guess. So we had like later on after coming back, some of them had posted pictures on Facebook. We had all these comments. It was like the likes were very less than the comments, so it was a lot of
Hmm.
fun.
Yeah.
And the person's photo which is uploaded was never on Facebook that time, and we made fun of him.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And he never knew about it
Yeah.
until like some other guy went and showed him. He's like, "See, bro, your photo is on Facebook, and look at the
Yeah.
comments."
Yeah. 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 I remember that picture. Was it with the glasses and like,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
he
Yeah.
looked like that. Or that there's this character that time with had the big glasses with the small head. Some movie
Mhm.
character,
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Mm.
It was fun that time.
Yeah. 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 And I mean, there's a lot of dumb that we've done too. Like in terms of making fun of people. Like I remember people like Azim and all would like pull out our calendars and like start calling us from our parents' names
Yeah, yeah. The
uh,
father's name is
and all that.
seriously, dude. Now, when I look back, no, when I look at a person, see now, if you're in front of me and all of a sudden you meet me after a long time, I don't remember your name. I remember your father's name first.
Right,
Because when he
right, right.
most of
Yeah,
them, then I'm like, fuck no, that's Prateek.
yeah,
That's how
yeah.
it goes. So now you remember in the exams also in English exams, we used to write our names and all. We used to mix up the names of fathers. So I used to make fun out of it.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. I remember one time somebody was copying, I guess, from was it? I think it was Ronson and Karan. I don't know if you remember this, but it was some exam, okay, and Karan and Ronson were sitting next to each other, and I think Ronson ended up copying Karan's name on his name too. Do you
Yeah,
remember this?
yeah, yeah. The letter letter writing. We had some question about letter writing. See,
Yeah,
he had Ditto copied the same thing and even his name, so he got caught for that. He's like, no, no, I didn't copy.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, you're right though. Like whenever you think of somebody, like their father's name tends to pop up in your head.
The
Yeah.
first thing is the
Yeah.
father's name. Then you go into that person like proper person name. I
Right.
don't think we did that to the girls. Only guys had that thing, I guess.
No.
Like,
No, I think we did. I think some of them did find out some girls' fathers' names too. I think Azim
but
found out somebody's name.
yeah, but we used to not go into that extent of
Right.
teasing them.
Yeah.
Or, like guys, we had that. Okay, once you start teasing, we used to go all out. You remember
Right.
Hisham, that
Oh
guy.
yeah.
We used to tease him a
Yeah.
lot. He was like very silent guy, but he was like, okay, you're gonna tease me today.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
used to have a lot of fun pulling each other's chairs when we were going to sit, made them fall.
Yeah. 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 I
Remember, we
remember
used to
like
have that message sent back home. Like at the end of the day, every teacher had that remark to fill about the class, like what they did that day, like the student's name. If they have a complaint on the remark page, they should write the name. And once you get back home from the school, there's a message saying that your son has been not disciplined and used to get bashed and all.
yeah, they had like a text message thing, right? They'd send you a text
Yeah.
message about that. Yeah.
Whether
Yeah.
you like morning, they used to have it for attendance, and at end of every period, they used to have this person from a class like take it and go to give it to that. I think there's some section for that. I don't remember the name, proper name for that. Yeah, they were like they had the books over there. They were like entering the data, sending
Yeah.
messages to the parents. If there's a complaint,
Yeah.
you go home. You have to be prepared. Okay, you're gonna get some bashings today.
Right. 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 Yeah. 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 I remember that too. Like, and also like a lot of the times, we'd end up I think this was mainly in 10th, but while we were walking out towards the bus stop, we'd stop by that man's shop, like
Uh,
the bald-headed guy's shop, and we'd stand there and just
I
talk for a
that
while.
bald guy. What's that guy's name? Melissa's father.
No, not Melissa's father, dude. Like the other one. I mean, I know like Melissa's
The other
shop was
side.
also on the other side. Other side,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, other side, yeah, other side also. I remember more so going to the other side than I do remember to going to Melissa's
yeah.
family
Because
run shop.
Melissa's father's shop was on the other side of the bus stop. This was on the way,
Right.
so we used to like, pack up
Yeah.
for there. 10th
Yeah.
standard, I guess, most of us. 8th and 9th, not much. 10th standard, because we had this extra classes and all, we used to get together over there after the classes.
Right. Right.
Summer
Right.
classes.
Right.
We had the summer classes.
Yeah. I don't know why. Like as we were talking about that, it reminded me of Ronson and his father coming to pick him up and all that. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah,
He used
yeah,
to come on his bike. He was like, hey, your father came. We used
yeah,
to not call. I think during school time, we never used our names. It was just a nickname or your father's name.
yeah,
So it's imprinted like when you see that person, okay,
yeah,
your
yeah,
father's name is
yeah,
gonna pop up first.
yeah, yeah. No, true. Very true, very true. Because now, if you try and think back, also, I'm sure like you can remember most people's fathers' names.
Yeah, rather than their
Like if
names.
you didn't think about it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, totally, totally, totally. It's it's funny, but at the same time, you're like, I mean, at least I feel like looking back on it, I'm like, why did I do that? But now, I mean, it's sort of like after maturity, you're like, okay, I shouldn't have done that. But back then, it was fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that
yeah,
was just a stage of life. Childish
right.
behavior, what you said earlier.
Yeah, 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 yeah. But after you sort of like come out of that phase, you tend to get a little more knowledgeable and a little
Yeah,
more mature.
you mature.
Yeah,
You know it's
yeah. It's just, but looking back on it, it still makes you laugh though. Like even though some of it is dumb, like it still makes you laugh. Like I remember like a complaint that Sister Rupal had for my mom when like my mom came down that time because I used to stay with my grandmom, right?
yeah,
So I remember like my mom coming down one time and she was there. She was present when we had one of the parent teacher meetings. And I remember Sister Rupal, like, indirectly, I remember she didn't directly tell her what happened, but she indirectly sort of complained about the Nitika incident.
Yeah.
Something about, like, yeah, he's angry, he has anger on the tip of his nose or something like that.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, looking back on those things, it sort of reminds you, like, also reminds you of how far we've come and how we've changed for the better. So, yeah,
Parents teacher meeting, I think we were all like, okay, that is the one day we were all decent and very innocent type of guys. No,
yeah,
no naughtiness, no nothing. So you're like very silent because that's the day when get your parents get to see your marks. If you're
right,
having like very bad marks like me, I used to be like in. We used to have the tests in between, so I used to not score good in the tests, and only in the final exam I used to score good marks. So till then, I used to get like every time PT parent teacher meeting used to be there. My parents used to like they were meant to sit, and I was sent out
mm,
mainly to complain about me. And my parents obviously they come home and they are gonna scold you about it, like what you have done. So
yeah, yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
think that kind of when you look back looks kind of funny because now you don't have any parent teachers meeting. You're on your own. You're
right,
lecturers are not gonna call your parents and tell, "Oh, you look at your son, he's not
yeah,
getting good marks. Make him do something." Because we've crossed that age also. Because we have to know our own responsibilities. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Just to sort of like cap this conversation off, like, if you were to take away like three big things you learned from your time in Mount Carmel, what would those things be?
Friendship,
Hmm.
friendship. Then maybe yeah. I found my first love in high school. School. You remember?
True,
Yeah.
true, true.
So that was like kind of a stage then.
Yeah.
So yeah, then my I guess my short tempered reactions.
Hmm. Yeah. 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 I mean, I remember when you said your first love thing, like, I remember the whole sort of
Yeah, you kind of in
problem that
between. You
even,
were the anchor in between, I guess, in 10th standard or ninth. In that
I think it was
ninth
10th.
and 10th. Yeah, it started in
Yeah.
ninth and 10th. You became like a anchor in between. You're like, okay, you're the person in between who's going to do you're the, what do you say, the mediator. Not mediator. Like you're the middle person that time to
Yeah.
like because you were the school people leader and I was the sports minister. So you made us
And she
stand
was
in the
also
same
another
way.
minister, right?
Yeah, some I think cultural or something.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
made us stand in the same place and all. So those are the memories that time we had.
Yeah.
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 I speak to her sometime now, but okay,
Hmm.
okay. Don't want to go back to the same old what do you say? The feelings because uh, it kind of took a wrong turn after 10th, so don't want to get
Yeah.
back to that. Just keep normal contact, get to know
Right. Yeah.
where
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
are, what you are. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah. You sort of make your peace with it after it's taken a wrong
Yeah.
turn, right? Like, you're like, I guess it's not meant to be, and you sort of move on. So that is fair. That is fair. But yeah, dude, we're gonna transition into sort of like this word association game that we tend to play with every guest that comes on. So
Yeah.
basically, I will give you like five different words, and you have to
Okay.
respond to these five words, like each word in like three words or in three phrases. So the name of the segment is called Bish Bash Bosh, and the first word is differences. What comes to your mind when I say the word differences? Like three things.
Differences, I guess I can say about the mindset of people. Like they have very different mindset when you are going into maybe doing some work. You have a positive mindset, and some have a negative mindset. So yeah, mindset of people. Then emotions, different emotions between people. Like some you connect with some people's emotions when you look at them at that point, moment of time. Third word, yeah, that's it, I guess. Third word, I not getting it.
Anything that's sort of like in your head right now.
uh, Character.
Mm, okay, nice.
Different characters,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we just spoke about school, so you remember all the characters.
Right,
So
right.
different characters we met or we're going to meet in the future.
Yeah, true, true. The second word is nuance. What are some three things that come to your mind?
Nuance. Hmm, I'm gonna go with I think, yeah, sentiments of people, the way they express themselves. Very, then yeah, not getting anything else.
It's okay. It's okay. I mean, if you can't think of anything, that's fine. But sentiments of people is a really good one because I think like we don't tend to understand what sentiments one might have, but it sort of helps like build a connection if you do understand it. But the third word is learning. What comes to your mind when I say the word learning?
Learning, it's learning is a. I think it's a process. You keep learning in life with your mistakes or with your failures and success. You like learn from it. Then learning. Uh, School, yeah, school, college, uh, friendship. Learn from friendships also, the relationships and all. Yeah, you
Mm,
learn experiences. So yeah, I think
mm,
I can come up with lots of words for learning. Like
right. Yeah. What comes to your mind when I say the word empathy?
empathy. Empathy, yeah, I think people should not misuse empathy, like to gain that false trust and all. So yeah, then I think empathy also helps in building trust with each other, sharing things. So then empathy. Yeah, I think I'm empathy, random act of kindness, showing empathy to random people without any selfish deeds. Like you're not expecting anything back from them. So just going out on a limb and helping them whenever like you feel like okay, yeah, someone's in need
Yeah.
of help. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Totally. And the last word for this segment is similarities. What comes to your mind when I say the word similarities?
Similarities. Hmm. Similarities. Hmm. Similarities, I guess it's important, similar in relationships because you need to have certain things similar where you can match on the same vibe, like, you know, then, yeah, similarities between us human beings in the competitive world. We have a lot of similarities, like maybe your work. Uh, and Similarities. Hmm. I think I'm gonna go with friendship because if you're not similar or like familiar enough with the person, I don't think it's gonna last for long because friendship is like you have that trust and bond between two people where you share things, you help out each other. So yeah, yeah, that's it, I guess.
Hmm. Cool, cool. Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, thank you so much for playing along on that segment of
Yeah,
Bish
thank you.
Bash Bosh. We just got two more
Yeah,
questions.
yeah,
Well, the last one's not really a question, but the
yeah.
first question is, how do you relate to people?
I I think I'm kind of an open, straightforward guy because I don't like to hide anything. I want to people to see me as me because once you start hiding things about yourself, then people start judging about you. So that I don't give people that opportunity to judge about me. It's like what you see is what you get. I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything I'm just gonna be blunt with you, just straight going for the kill. Don't expect me to be like okay, it's a softy because some places I think it's required to be blunt because nowadays saying no to some things in life I think it's very important at this stage because you can't bear the burden later like the effects of that thing those things when you're supposed to tell no. So later on, you are going to fall into that ditch and you're going to be like, okay, what am I going to do now? So it's going to
Right.
be too late. So, yeah, with me, it's straightforward. You get what you see. Yeah, whatever it is, I don't like people to come at me with, like, what do you say? Uh, if you want something from me, just ask me directly. You don't have to ask me, like, okay, what's going on in a life and create that fake environment and make me feel like okay this person cares about me or something like that. So just if you have some work and because some people do that they like okay once their work is done they don't even remember later like this person had helped me and something like that. So that kind of hurts. So I think because of those kind of experiences I've changed myself a bit, right?
Fair enough. Yeah, that's true. Because a lot of the times I think, um, and I mean, we don't know what's going on in somebody else's mind, but at the same time, it's sort of like also understanding that um, ask and you shall receive is
Yeah,
better than sort of assuming that oh, this person's gonna give me something just
yeah, that.
because I'm talking to you.
Yeah,
So
it's like they think they're entitled to get something from me, like you or me, anyone. It might be that should
yeah,
not be the mindset of a person.
right, right, right. Totally, totally. And for the last question, which again is not really a question, if you want to leave everybody who's listening and watching with something positive or something that you'd like to share, feel free to go ahead and share.
Yeah, what I've experienced in life, I'm just gonna tell something based on that. So I think maybe trust the process, be patient, work hard, and be disciplined. You're going to get there in the end, someday or the other. Just don't give up.
Yeah, that's something that we all need to sort of remember a lot because I think um, it's very easy to sort of lose hope, but it's always important to sort of believe and trust yourself and sort of keep going. So that is a great way to close this off. Thank you so much, bro, for doing this. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank
Yeah,
you. Thank you,
yeah,
bro.
yeah, not a problem. And for those of you listening and watching, thank you, and we'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching this episode of Perspective Platoon with Prateek. Make sure to follow Omkar on social media and mention in the comment section below some things that you found interesting, intriguing, relatable, or funny about our past memories together. Make sure to also check the description box below for other sources of information and content that we've talked about today. Like this video, share it around, and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to never miss another episode. If you've made it this far, thank you so much once again for doing so. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this and join in on the platoon of perspectives. Until next time, stay safe, take care, and don't forget to keep your mind open to different perspectives, because you never know, random relatability might just be around the corner.